help out the Dr.Wily channel by clicking the sponsor button below. This way you can financially support us and get some cool perks in the process. Now, blocks are incredibly important. And no, I'm not a Minecraft fan, because I'm actually talking about the original block-filled game, the Super Mario franchise. There are tons of them in almost every 2D title, with some even playing a giant role in the level's design and functions. But we are going to look at one of the very first blocks with an actual function in the games, the POW block. So let's find out how this object evolved in terms of use, design, story, and gameplay. Now, all of this started in a time when video games were quite different from what they are now. A time when most people needed to go to an arcade in order to play any games. This is where the POW block first appeared. In these halls there was a game known as Mario Bros, where our Italian heroes used the POW block in the sewers to defeat all kinds of foes. When hit, it damages all enemies on the screen, but only those that are on the ground. That's because it creates some sort of mini earthquake, which is quite an interesting effect that wasn't really seen in video games up until that point. However, it does make sense why they did it. Technology was quite limited, and this item didn't require any complex effects. All it needed was a little screen shaking, which saves on precious memory and data. Now in these levels, it can be hit 3 times before it disappears, and each time you do so, it flattens up. There was only one real reason why it was even in the game: to give the players another chance if they were swarmed by enemies, because it would hurt almost all of them at the same time. So it's certainly effective and does give them a fair chance when Nintendo starts to crank up the heat in certain levels. However, weirdly enough, this item wasn't really seen in the first Super Mario Bros. Game. Now, the reason why they didn't include it could have been because of the new design of the levels, which were 2D side-scrollers. Here, an item like this isn't very useful, because you're going to go past it quite quickly, and after that, it's no use to you anymore. Only in the later games, they decided that players should be able to pick them up, which would have made them great items in Super Mario Bros. However, that would probably make it so powerful that most bosses and enemies wouldn't stand a chance, which we kind of saw in the next Super Mario Bros. Game where they are actually seen in the levels. Here it can only be used once, as the player has to grab it and throw it onto the ground in order to activate it. A later version of this game even introduced a giant version of it, called the Giant POW block. This one can bounce on the ground, causing multiple tremors, before it ends up disappearing. So here we finally see it outside of the stationary levels seen in the arcade classic. And as expected, they are incredibly powerful. They can clear hordes of enemies that are in your way in an instant, which is a bit too much, to be honest. And that's most likely the reason why it wasn't even seen that much after this. It was missing in Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, and a lot more. The only place it was seen in the meantime was in quite a different type of Super Mario game. In Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, it turns all nearby enemies into stars, who will protect baby Mario if Yoshi loses him. Now it only appears in the Cave of Lakitus, and can be hit 3 times before it disappears. However, there appears to be a new type of them as well, which can be used almost anywhere after getting it. And they are called Anywhere POWs. So yet again, not a whole lot changed. In this game, it's also a powerful item, and can even be used anywhere this time if you have the right type. It became even more powerful than the older types. So what would happen next? Well, it did return. After years upon years of being gone from the series, it came back when they decided to revive the 2D side-scroller formula. It returns in New Super Mario Bros. Wii and can yet again be picked up and carried. And once thrown, it eliminates all the enemies on screen. This is nothing new really. However, they also gave it a new ability, which was used in order to solve specific puzzles or to make getting collectibles easier, because it also drops all floating coins. And thanks to this, is also essential for collecting all the star coins found hidden in levels. For example, in level 1-2. Here you can see the coin, but there's no way to get it. But if you use a pipe to go down and use the POW block found there, it will fall down. So it's also used for little puzzles and to make the star coins harder to obtain, which is a genius move. Instead of making it just a powerful item to get rid of enemies, it's used for something more interesting which offers different gameplay mechanics, which is a big improvement. And in the next title, they started to expand upon this mechanic even more by adding a new type with a slightly different effect. In New Super Mario Bros. 2, a red variation called the red POW block is introduced. Now, unlike the other ones, these cannot be picked up, and they must be activated by hitting them somehow. In addition, they start a chain reaction with one another when activated, and these tremors can hit nearby blocks as well. So this is another way Nintendo can create new types of puzzles and scenarios using this satisfying new item. In my opinion, using the POW blocks in such a way is a lot more fun and interesting than using it as a weapon. While using it to defeat enemies in the arcade classic made sense, here in the Super Mario series, it just doesn't. There are already a ton of things for just that, like the fire flowers, which are a lot more fun to use. However, after this, not a whole lot changed. When it came to the 2D games at least, because later down the line it was also seen in a 3D title. The red ones reappear in Super Mario 3D World, which is their first appearance in a 3D Mario platformer. In this game it has the exact same power as it had in the others, creating a shockwave. And a blue giant POW block, which needs to be hit 4 times in order to beat Meowser, is seen at the end. So they just took the mechanics from the 2D games into the 3D games, which sadly enough wasn't anything new. Now, of course, it was also seen in some spin-off titles like Paper Mario and Mario Party. However, there was only one game like this where it was an interesting mechanic. In Mario Kart Wii. Here it's a rare pull from an item box, and when it's used by a player, all racers ahead of the user find POW blocks above their carts. It makes the racers ahead of the user spin out in a similar way to that caused by a banana peel, except that they lose all of their current items and they come to a complete stop if it hits them. However, there's more to it, because you won't be affected by it if the third strike goes off while you're in mid-air, doing a wheelie, doing a hop at the right time, or shaking your controller at the right time. By doing this, you still spin out and lose all of your items, but retain your momentum. That's the fun part about it all. You can do something about this attack from another player if you know how it works, and it even requires some skill to pull off these tricks. So it was quite a good use of this item. Now, will it ever return? Who knows? We did see it in Super Mario Maker, so maybe the blue and red version will both return in the second game. I guess we will have to wait and see. Hey you there, are you going to Dutch Comic Con this weekend? Well great, because I'm going as well! Yes, Dr.Wily will be going to Dutch Comic Con. So come hang out, follow me on Twitter and Instagram so you know where I am, or you can DM me where you are and I can find you. And if we meet up, then you'll get a little gift. Thanks for watching everybody, I hope you enjoyed. This voiceover was quite hell for me because I still hate voiceovering. It's like the worst thing on this planet. I hate it with a passion. So please thumbs up this video, go watch more videos which took voiceovers, which hurt me internally, and subscribe to the channel for more voiceovered videos because gosh, what else am I gonna do?